Hey everybody, welcome to Q&A video number 23. Make sure you keep asking questions. Doesn't matter what they're about, they can be about anything. Just know, I don't respond to review requests or LP requests in these videos. I respond to them in the comments. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with two questions from Burning of Sodom 1. And this sort of question is fine, by the way, if you're asking about preliminary thoughts on things. Do you think this will be this way, or what are your expectations on these? So, first one is, I know you don't play many survival horror games, but do you think Resident Evil 6 and Silent Hill Downpour will be any good? To say I don't play many of these games is a massive understatement. I really don't play any of them at all. The only Resident Evil game that I actually liked was Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 5 was god-awful. And if Resident Evil 6 is anything like 5, then it will suck. It's that simple. If they bring it back to the 4 style, then it will be fine, though. Or at least I hope so. I mean, they have ridiculous storylines and characters and all that, but anyway. As for Silent Hill, I can't really say anything about that because I haven't played any of the Silent Hill games. I don't know what to expect from that. I don't really care. So, there you go. And then the next one is, what are your expectations on Doom 4 and Quake 5? I actually fully expect them to suck at this point, considering id's track record as of late. Basically, ever since the 90s, they have not produced anything good. I'm talking about post-90s, by the way. Everything they've produced since basically the year 2000, except for Return to Castle Wolfenstein, that was a very rare exception. At least that was like the tail end of their good years. The Doom 3 and Resurrection of Evil were horrible, especially as Doom games, but as normal first-person shooters, they weren't really good either. And of course, Quake 4 was done by Raven, and it was awful. It did everything that a first-person shooter could do wrong. It was awful. So I fully expect these two games to suck. I hope they don't. I hope they go back to the older styles and bring back the classic fast-paced action that we know and love from these series, instead of the really slow, methodical, achingly, painfully slow gameplay of the previous two games. But, anyway. Let's go on to a question from The Messing. Do you think partially... this one's a weird phrasing on the question. I think I know what he's trying to say, but he really... This is like a train wreck of grammar. So I'm going to just rephrase the questions. Basically, do you think that waiting for the price of games to drop is not supporting the developers? And is that the same thing as what the pirates do, because they download these games for free and just play them for that, and instead of waiting for the price to drop or not buying them at all and all that? I think that if you are getting the game at a reduced price, then money is still going to the developers, unless it's, of course, a used game, in which case they don't get anything from that. But in that case, it's fine, because they are still getting money from it. And usually by that point, they've already covered all the costs of development, so you don't need to worry about it. Unless it was a massive flop of a game. But as for that being equivalent to piracy, no. It's completely different. Because if you're doing piracy, then you're doing one of two things. Either A, you're just being a freeloader, which is the majority of people who pirate things, and you have no intention of giving them money at all. Or you're trying something out, or you've already paid for the game, and you want to play it without any DRM or something like that. Or well, that's multiple things. I know what I'm talking about. But, so a lot of people pirate things to try them out, and then they buy them. A lot of people are waiting for the price to go down, and so they pirate them. And when the price goes down, they do buy them. It's a weird, lots of gray area there, but it's not the same thing. Let's just say that. Next one is from Super Manaman 1. Or Manaman 1, I don't know which. Anyway. What do you think of modern real-time strategy games like Starcraft 2 and Command & Conquer 4? And do you think older real-time strategy games are better than new ones? That's a really, really loaded question, isn't it? If you've seen my videos for a long time, you should already know how I feel about Starcraft, so I'm not going to bother talking about that. But Command & Conquer, I have never felt that as a strategy game series. I know they classify them as them, but they really don't feel like it. There's not a lot of strategy involved. There's not thought involved. You really just churn out a crap ton of units and charge. And That's really all that there is to Command and Conquer. Starcraft is kind of the same way, only it's more formulaic, and there used to be strategy involved until they figured out the formulas, then it just turned into a formula. So that's not quite the same thing. And in fact, those are the older styles, by the way. If you're looking for newer styles, then you're talking about stuff like Company of Heroes, Dawn of War 2, even Dawn of War 1, Homeworld, all of which are top-notch strategy games, except for Soulstorm, which was good, but it wasn't great or anything. Anyway, I actually think that the newer style is, in general, a little better, and that's because they don't focus anywhere near as much on the micromanagement. And that's a good thing, because it lets you really focus on the more tactical element of things, as opposed to just sitting there building up your base, which takes quite a while, and if you don't know what you're doing, or you're not careful with it to the most minute detail, then you're going to get steamrolled and all that. I'm liking the less emphasis on micromanagement these days, and that's a great thing. But there are some of those older strategy games that are still just way more fun than modern ones, like Age of Empires 2. I still have a blast playing that over modern real-time strategy games in a lot of cases. So that's just the way that goes sometimes. And then the last question is from Momomo951. Why are you so sexy? Oh, I'm a model. You know what I mean. I'm going to do my little turn on the catwalk. Anyway, that's all I got, folks. That was Q&A 23, and I will catch you guys in later Q&As and other videos as well.